Hey, recently a company called Dehancer reached out to me asking if I wanted to try one of their plugins for programs like DaVinci Resolve and Final Cut Pro. Now, what Dehancer is a plugin that basically allows you to add film effects to your digital images. Basically, you can emulate a ton of different film stocks, and on top of that, you can add film effects to that color grade. They have over 60 films to choose from, along with print options. Basically, anything that you can do in the film development process, you can do with this plugin. You can add film compression, you can add film grain, you can add film damage, halation, bloom. You can push and pull your film if you want. You can overscan your film if you want. And when I mean they have a full suite of films, I'm not just talking about the types of film from the Kodak Vision 3 to the Fujifilm to the Lomachrome and even Polaroid if you wanted to go that route. But I'm also talking about they've got 8mm films, 16, 35, 65mm film. Once I started looking through all of the effects and the film emulation, I was like, this may actually be something good, especially for my line of work when it comes to drone footage. Because we've all seen, yes, you can put a film camera on a drone if you want, but that's going to be a pretty big drone that you're going to need, and you're going to have a lot of money flying through the air. With this, Dehancer did send me a copy of the plugin, but no money has changed hands. This video is not sponsored in any way. They have no oversight of what I will say, and they're not going to review this video before I put it out to you guys. The only form of compensation I have will be an affiliate link down below for 10% off of any of their products if you decide you want to try it after you've seen all that it can do in this video. Dehancer also has an iOS app which puts all the power of the desktop program in the palm of your hands. All the features like your films, your developer, your compression, your print, your film grain, your halation, your film damage, everything is here. It's all fully customizable, just like you would find on the desktop program. They also have loads of presets if you're in a bit of a rush and want to get your images out quickly. With that being said, let's get to it. So, how we're going to get started with Dehancer is we're going to go to our effects. We're going to scroll all the way down and drag it over our clip. Now, as you see, it doesn't look all too good, but that's because everything is at the base setting. So, how I like to do it is I start by scrolling all the way down, disabling all the tools, and you see that brings it back to basically a log profile. Then I will go up to input as my first stop. Now I can choose 709, 2020, or whatever camera we shot your footage with. We shot this with a Sony FX6, so that's what I'm going to pick. FX6, and we shot it 800 ISO, and then I'm going to bring down my EV. And as you can see, that already gives a pretty good base like log to 709 conversion look. Now I'm going to pick what type of film I want. So we enable, and I've looked at a couple of these, and I am really impartial to this Fujicolor Print Industrial 100. It gives it this nice kind of pinkish, almost 80s type look, which I really like. Next, we're going to go to the compression, and we're going to look at the tonal range, and I'm going to come up. I'm going to enable it first, and then I'm going to come up just to give us a little bit of separation from the background. All right, then we go to the developer. We're going to enable that, and then we're going to do a little bit of color boost. Just to give you some life. A little bit of gamma correction. It gets dark and you're just gonna brighten it back up a little bit. Then we're gonna go to the print, which was typically what your film would be printed on if it were going from a negative to a positive print. I like this Kodak glossy paper. And then with that, as you see, we're going to do a little bit more exposure, just up it just a little bit. A little bit more tonal contrast. And a little color density. I'm gonna bring that back up a little bit. I'm really liking the separation I'm getting between us and the nice out of focus background that we have. Next, I'm going to go to film grain, which is one of the nice effects. So now I would essentially be done with the color grade of this. It looks pretty decent. Next, we're going to go to film grain. I will enable it here. And as you can see, like I was saying before, 8mm, 16mm, 35, 65, you have all these different millimeter size of grain, as well as the different ISOs. So with this, we're going to do ISO 250 on 35mm, but you also have the option of changing the amount. As you can see here, I go up, it gets more, there essentially become more of them. You scroll down to the left, it becomes less. So you can, like I said, this is where that granular effect of the film that I was talking about earlier. So I'm gonna put this down because we don't need it too much. You just want a little bit of that. You want a hint of that film grain. So as you can see, you can toggle on and off here. And you can see in the waveform it actually affecting it as well. So now from film grain, we're going to go to what I consider the two effects that actually sell the fact that this could possibly, quite potentially, be actual film that you shot on. Your halation and your bloom. And we're going to start with the halation. So I'm going to turn that on, and as you see right now already, like around the mic and just around the corners of the laptops, you see it just gets this nice kind of just softness where the light just kind of pulls and settles down, and you never get that effect with a digital camera unless you put some sort of filter in front of your lens to give you that effect. Well, here now you've got it in a plug-in, and again with it enabled, you can cut on your mask to see exactly where it is and how much it's doing, and you can see the red. Here, I'll go a little bit drastic so you can really see. If it's 8mm, everything that's red right there is where it's applying that bloom. You can check out the mic again, the mic stand. You see that kind of pinkish glow around all of that. Yeah, so here, we're gonna go back to our 65 70 no rim jet with an amount of about 80, which is good with the halation. Again, you don't, well, for me, I'm not going too overboard. I'm just giving it nice subtle hints to make you think that this maybe could have been shot on film. So next, adding the bloom. Also, we're going to do 65 70 mil, and with this we're going to amplify it about 10 more points to about 50, and that right there would be my nice film effect. Now, I would try and play it like I can scrub through it, but this is kind of CPU, GPU intensive. So to play it back in real time, you have to either render in your timeline, or you just have to render your project out and see it. That is I guess one downside to this plugin, is that it is definitely GPU and CPU intensive. But as you can see, as I'm scrubbing through, you can see the film grain moving, the bloom, the halation, just the softness. This could potentially be shot on film. So moving on to some of the more fun effects, and as you add more effects, it just bogs down the CPU and GPU more and more. But we'll power through it for right now. We can add film damage, which is ready to go right here. Enable that, and then just to exacerbate this so you could really see it, we're going to go to Super 8, and then we're going to go to about 20, and then as I scrub through, you can see that it gives that film damage. And again, you can do 8 mil, 16 mil, 35 mil, 65 mil damage. And it just everything I believe you're doing from this point on is just icing on the cake, basically, for selling it that this could potentially be something that you actually shot on film. We've got gate weave, that's as your film is moving, because film is not a perfect medium, so it moves in the gate from side to side as it goes through the gate, so they add that in. Overscanning, which is pretty cool. If you want this effect, you basically can put on your perfs, and then you basically can go negative perfs, positive perfs. You can add the shape of your frame as a sharp, as a normal rounded curves, as neat rounded curves. Again, you can do the type of film that it is, so it gives you those different perfs. It's Super 16, ultra widescreen, like, it's really nice. And again, vignetting, you can do your monitoring where you've got clip indicators where, like I said, this is clip because it's just black, but I take the overscan off. Everything that's either over or under, it shows clipping. You've got false colors to make sure everything is good and exposed properly. You have LUT generators, so if you like this, you basically can export this LUT and again drop it on any other bit of footage that you have. As you can see, this is a very powerful plugin with all the different types of film stocks and film effects it can give you. I would definitely want to add this to my toolbox when it comes to film emulation and getting that authentic film look for whatever project may need it. And if you would like to add this to your filming toolkit, remember there's a promo code down below for 10% off anything in the Dehancer shop, whether it's video plugins, photo plugins, After Effects, you name it. Be sure to catch part 2 of this review where I showed Dehancer to a good friend of mine who's actually worked with some of the films that Dehancer has in their plugin, and I ask him, is it a one-to-one comparison? Basically, all the emulation, all the types of effects that Dehancer does that translate to what he's experienced in the real world working with these different films? Until then, peace.